This is the Angels POSTCAST, your instant game reaction for the Los Angeles Angels. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Well. Hello, Halo Nation. Hello, Halo hopefuls. And welcome back to the latest edition of the Locked On Angels POSTCAST. Coming at you live, as always, after every single Angels game, right here live on the Locked On Angels YouTube channel and after the fact, both on the channel and wherever you get the Locked On Angels audio podcast feed. If you don't know who I am, what's going on, everybody? My name is Gavin Carlson. I spent 4 years as a credentialed journalist in the LA area, wrote articles, conducted interviews, all that good stuff with the Daily Bruin, covered UCLA sports, and now in year 2 with the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. Our team is the Angels, and we talked plenty the past 3 shows about how this is a roller coaster team. But my word, I don't think any of us, even the ones like myself and like all the smart people who watch this show every night, I don't think any of us, despite admitting this is a roller coaster team, I don't think we could expect 2 valleys, 2 dips as low and as embarrassing and as frustrating as the 2 we saw today and 2 nights ago. And our valleys, our peaks, our rises, they are peaks because we win the game and because they're exciting. But the run differential in this series, unreal. The Angels, if you didn't see, the Angels fall 11-4 tonight. 11-4. Just 2 nights removed from getting absolutely walloped by these same Rangers 13-1. 2 times in 3 games, we have watched Kevin Newman pitch for the Angels. And you want to hear something disgraceful? Kevin Newman let's make sure I get this right before we start this show. Kevin Newman in 4 pitches, got more outs than Jack Kochanowicz got in the 3rd inning. And I don't want to know how many pitches, more outs than Kochanowicz got in like 30-something pitches, 2/3 of an inning where he gave up 6 earned runs. Think about that one more time. Kochanowicz gave up more runs in the 3rd inning on probably 10 times as many pitches on less outs than Kevin Newman got. It's crazy. It's crazy. So I probably, let the cat out the bag, spoiled the main theme of this show. But before I jump into it officially, shout out to everybody in here. I mean, if you're in here after an 11-4 loss at 9:35 on a Thursday night, you're a loyal listener. So I appreciate you guys so much. A lot of you saying you stopped watching the game, but yet you're back here for the show. Appreciate that so much. But with all that being said, let's get into the main talking point.
This is what you'll be talking about.
The big question after this game, is this it for Jack Kochanowicz? Is this it? Because we know plenty of people. I mean, yesterday, last night, you guys on the stream were saying, feeling good about this team, and now we have to watch Jack Kochanowicz pitch. I like to give people an opportunity to prove me wrong, right? I like to give guys a second chance and a third chance. This game called baseball, it's very hard, and it's also, there's an aspect of luck, right? You can throw a pitch right down the middle, and they can swing and miss. You can throw a pitch 2 feet below the zone, and they can hit it for a home run, right? But at this point, there's no defense for Jack Kochanowicz. He's just been flat out terrible, right? Just been flat out terrible all season. And we have enough of a sample size now to where You can't say, we need to see this, we need to see that. Oh, he's only playing against good lineups. Oh, he's only, no. He's done it against good teams, bad teams, doesn't matter. He has not been a good starting pitcher. And this might be the final straw because of how this game went. You're going against the Texas Rangers. And I know it's going to be ironic what I'm about to say when we consider that they just put up 13 runs against us 2 days ago, right? But this Rangers team is 25th in baseball in terms of runs scored. 25th. And first off, let's not forget, Soriano had an awful start 2 days ago, right? But he went 4 innings, gave up 5 earned runs. Aldegari was also terrible, and then Kevin Newman did give up 3 runs in 3 innings, right? So that 13 number is huge, but again, it's really 2 guys giving up 5 each before you put in a position player, and the second guy really not a MLB pitcher either, a young prospect who we just threw in there to eat up innings. The Rangers are not a good offensive team, and they exploded 2 days ago. They got rid of their big performance. And also, let's not act like they were terrible offensively in the 2 games we won. They still put up 5 runs on Monday. They put up 8 runs on Wednesday. So they have already put up 26 runs coming into this ball game. You could say, hey, they're getting right against the Angels. A lot of teams do that, especially last year. You could say that. But at the same time, you could say, this is a Rangers offense that is not good, that has already given you 3 very good, above exceeding their expectations, offensive performances the last 3 games. So even though Jack Kochanowicz has been awful, and even though the Rangers have been great the last 3 games, it's very fair to say, just based on the law of averages, regressing to the mean, that the Rangers should not have another blow-up amazing performance. They should have an average performance. If they're going up against a good pitcher tonight, they should have a bad performance, right? I hope you guys understand what I'm saying here. The fact that a below-average offense has had 3 above-average performances in a row. Eventually, they got to regress to the mean, right? Jack Kochanowicz has had a bunch of horrible starts in a row. So if he's an average starting pitcher, he's got to regress to the mean as well, right? Something has got to give. No. Instead, the Rangers, for the 4th straight game, look very good. For the 3rd straight game, they look darn right unbelievable. And Jack Kochanowicz has another awful start. In case you missed it, he gave up 2 runs in the top of the 1st. Now, the 1st inning, if you're trying to be friendly to the guy, and again, this is nothing against him, his character, or even him as a player. Maybe he could become a valuable long reliever or something. Maybe he's a couple years away from being a good starter, but he's not an MLB starter right now. Heck no. Heck no. And this was a little bit of an unlucky inning in the 1st. I'm going to be fair to him. There's a ground ball up the middle. It's absolutely ripped by Seager. That's not unlucky. Semien absolutely rips one as well. But, Shift kind of screwed things over there. Adolis Garcia, he hits one decently hard in the right place to score Corey Seager, get Semien to 3rd. And then Jonah Heim, he hits a ground ball decently hard, finds the right hole, right? So Jack Kochanowicz, I know there's been people debating, is he a ground ball pitcher, or are the Angels making him a ground ball pitcher when he shouldn't be? I don't know. But the moral of the story is he forces 4 ground balls here. They all are base hits. So it's kind of unlucky, but at the same time, they were all hit pretty hard. So it's not an F inning from him. It's a C- inning that had a D result because of some bad luck. Right? Maybe that's how you describe it. But the top of the 3rd, there's no excuse, folks. No excuse. Walks Corey Seager, base hit to Marcus Semien on a hard hit liner. He gets 2 outs. There's 2 outs in the inning. You're an out away from not allowing a run. 1st and 2nd, 2 outs. First pitch, 4-seam fastball against Wyatt Langford, right down the middle. Base hit, RBI, 3-0. Evan Carter comes up, 0-1 sinker, outside corner, after he throws a high sinker on the first pitch. So a very similar pitch, 2 elevated sinkers back to back. Not what you're trying to do. Lined, or a ground ball, up the middle, base hit. These balls are all hit hard. Then a balk. Come on, man. A balk to score a run. It's 5-0. And then Jake Berger comes up, and it's kind of a weird one. He hangs a slider. It's absolutely hung. It was really started like it was going to hit him, and then comes in. Maybe he's going to catch the corner, but the moral of the story is it's a slider that he's probably trying to throw down and away, and it's up and in. Huge mistake. Berger crushes it for a RBI double. And then one last cherry on top for an awful start, an awful inning. He walks Ozuna, a full count walk, and that's all she wrote. Now, Carson Fulmer comes in, and he doesn't help. Immediately walks Josh Smith, immediately gives up a 2 RBI single to Corey Seager, immediately gives up a single to Marcus Semien, and it's 9-0. It's a 7-run third inning. And no offense to the Angels radio post-game show, but they're in there talking about how their number one story after the game, because I did listen to the first couple minutes of it while I was setting up the stream. Their number one story was, let's talk about how Carson Fulmer ate up innings. Are you kidding me? Come on, guys. Let's not turn this into a propaganda network. That's the takeaway from the game, is that Carson Fulmer ate up innings? Not to and did a stellar job? Not to mention, he didn't do a stellar job. He gave up those runs in that inning. I get it. 6 of the 7 were, attributed to Kochanowicz. But Fulmer gives up another run in that inning attributed to himself, in addition to the 2 he could have bailed out Kochanowicz. And then he gives up another 2 runs in the 5th inning. Or not the 5th inning, in the 8th inning. So, yes, it is good that he pitched 5 1/3 innings. And then Newman pitched an inning, and we didn't have to waste our real bullpen arms. But God, no, that is not the takeaway from the game. The takeaway is that Jack Kochanowicz is terrible in this ball game. His ERA is over 6. 2 2/3, 8 hits, 3 walks, 3 strikeouts, 8 earned runs. The ERA is over 6. We have enough of a your comments are crazy, Christopher. You're distracting me. We've had enough of a sample size with Jack Kochanowicz. He started 30 games. This is start number 30 for him. Through 30 games, the ERA is 5.2. Through 19 starts in 2025. Not his rookie year, I get it. Last year, we call him up randomly out of nowhere. He's a 23-year-old kid. We're throwing him into horrible situations. But there's not much of an excuse this year. Again, some guys take multiple years to become good. But talk about a horrible start to your career. And again, there could be a future there. He's good at getting ground balls. Occasionally, he has strikeout stuff. But right now, he's a starting pitcher who through 19 games in his second year is 3-9 with a 6.03 ERA. On a team that scores a lot of runs, a lot of nights, keeps you in ball games, bails you out in ball games where you're bad. But he has been real, real bad. And the problem is, there's not really a single thing he does super well enough to make up for the struggles. Even when Soriano has a horrible start, we can look and see, hey, the guy has got A+ stuff. If he can locate a little better, if he can maybe rely on getting weak contact a little less and maybe improve the strikeout rate, the swing and miss rate, he's got the upside, right? Jack Kochanowicz, what does he do exceptionally well to make up for the things he does exceptionally bad? Nothing. The control's not good. The stuff isn't crazy electric. He throws a decent sinker to force some ground balls. That's really it. And it's catching up to him for sure. So you guys let me know in the comments, is this it for Kochanowicz? The problem is we love to bring up our starting pitcher prospects and throw them in the bullpen. And I get it. It's an interesting strategy. Hey, you want to see what Alex Gary can do against MLB level hitting. So you use him as a long reliever for a game or two. But the problem is now we don't have anybody to call up and make a starting pitcher, because the guys that could be starting pitchers haven't been starting pitchers in days or weeks because they're long relievers eating up innings in blowout losses for the Angels. So Poor management in terms of our prospects. Exactly, Real Marco Polo. We have no one to bring up. And that's why Real Marco Polo says it's not it for Jack Kochanowicz, because we have no one to bring up. People talked about Silseth. People saying maybe bullpen for Jack. I don't want to see Jack Kochanowicz in the bullpen, and he shouldn't want to see himself in the bullpen. He needs to go into the minors and be a starting pitcher against talent equivalent to him so he can improve. Let's stop trying to plug these starters into the bullpen. We got lucky with Reed Detmers. The same way we got lucky with Soriano going from the bullpen to the starting rotation. But some guys, Kochanowicz, Aldeguerri, Bachman, let's stop making them bullpen guys. Let's just admit that they're not good enough right now. That's all I'm going to say there. So we're going to take our break. When we come back, we will talk about the offense a little bit. But what I do want to talk about before we wrap this show up is why this series perfectly sums up the Angels in 2025. I mean, perfectly. Maybe too well. Maybe it exaggerates it too much. But it perfectly summarizes this team this season. We'll talk about that after our break here on the Locked On Angels postcast. Now, on this Thursday, today's show is brought to you by Gametime, as I throw up the graphic. Have you ever decided at the last minute to head to a ball game with friends or family? Maybe it's game day and you suddenly realize you want to be in the stands. That's exactly where Gametime comes in. It's the easiest way to grab last-minute tickets without the stress. With the money you save on tickets, you can splurge on food, drinks, merch, or even invite a bigger group to come with you. Gametime makes it possible. Gametime makes buying tickets fast and simple. Prices on the app actually drop the closer you get to first pitch, and they've got incredible last-minute deals, clear seat views, and a lowest price guarantee that takes the worry out of buying. Gametime is the official ticketing partner of Locked On MLB, and it makes it easy to browse the app for exciting MLB games. I know that I'm in the Bay Area right now, highly considering going to Giants-Dodgers this weekend on Saturday. It's a day game, Barry Bonds night. Going to get a Bonds bobblehead, still be able to come home and watch our Angels and do the postcast. I'm considering it, and if I go, I'll be using Gametime because it has last-minute tickets and zone deals for big savings and seat views right in the app before you buy. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download the Gametime app today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. And today's show is also brought to you by Open Phone. If you're running a business, you know that every missed call is money left on the table. Think about the last time you had a service emergency, like a burst pipe. If the first plumber didn't answer, did you wait? Nope. You called the next one. That's why having a reliable business line is so important, and that's why you need Open Phone. It's the #1 business phone system that helps you streamline and scale customer communication, all from an app on your phone or computer. Your whole team can share one number and respond to customers like a shared inbox. No more who's handling this, and the AI agent handles after-hour calls, answers common questions, and captures leads, so you would never miss a customer again. So Open Phone is offering Locked On Angels postcast listeners 20% off your first 6 months at openphone.com/LockedOnMLB. That's OPENHONE.com/LockedOnMLB. And if you have existing numbers with another service, Open Phone will port them over at no extra charge. Open Phone, no missed calls, no missed customers. Back here live on another blowout loss edition of the Locked On Angels postcast, another long show edition of the Locked On Angels postcast. You can't say I'm selling you guys short. There's no other postcast, not even trying to talk about the other people on my network, let alone any show in general. There's no other postcast or show that after a blowout loss like this is going to give you 20 plus minutes of good, high quality content. So hit that like button, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And sorry for the cringe self-plug there, but I don't know. I'm just talking my stuff, I guess. Angels lose 11-4 after losing 13-1 2 nights ago. Absolutely frustrating. We already ripped into Kochanowicz. So yeah, that's that. The offense was okay tonight. Again, 10 hits, just 4 runs on 10 hits is a little frustrating, but you do get a home run from a 2-run, 2-out home run from Taylor Ward, his 21st of the year. And then Neto with that kind of last-second meaningless solo shot there, but still love to see it. If there was a player of the game for the Angels, it was absolutely Zach Neto, 3 for 5 with that home run, 2 RBI or 2 runs and RBI, and then Taylor Ward 2 for 4 with the 2 RBIs there and a run as well. Not a good night for Trout, not a good night for Adele, although he goes 1 for 4. Ohapi does get a hit, thank God, because he did have another strikeout. And Rengifo, a really bad 0 for 4 with 2 Ks. Let's quickly wrap this up by talking about why this series perfectly summarizes the Angels in 2025. I don't know why I had brain fart there, but think about it. I ranted about it 2 nights ago and a little bit yesterday about how this is such a roller coaster team and how, despite having a pretty average record, our run differential is awful, -60 plus, and we're lucky to be at 45 and 48. Let's be honest, right? The run differential is awful, and we don't play well against good teams. We don't play well in games where the other offense shows up. I hate to say it, right? But this team is not I still think they're average. They're average, but they are nowhere near above average, right? And when you see a game like yesterday, when you see a series like the Brave series, when you see sweeps against bad teams, you think, I think this team could be above average despite us having an average record. But if there's anything this series confirms, it's that we cannot fall for those peaks anymore, those wins yesterday. We can fall for them in the sense that we can look at that and go, hey, despite us being 3 games under 500, we're a 500 ball club type of team, right? But you can't look at that game yesterday anymore and say, hey, there's a chance the Angels are actually an above average team. You cannot say that anymore because of how bad the losses have been. And maybe this has been the story all along, and we've been hopeful. I've been hopeful. We've all been hopeful. When you see the team get to 500 and then lose immediately, and then get back to 500 and lose immediately, and get back to 500 and lose immediately, you want to say, hey, it's a 500 team, maybe even a little bit above it. But we can't ignore the facts at this point, which is we kept getting to 500 and never going over it. And that's quite symbolic in that we are a 500 at best ball club, literally in terms of our record, but also in terms of our performances. When your run differential is -60, when you lose 2 games 13-1 and 11-4 in a 2-2 split, you're in a below average baseball team or an average at best. And so you went 2-2 in this series. You're almost 500 as a record, but we know that's the cap. And so again, in terms of the deadline, 2 weeks ago when it was, hey, we're 500, but every game is closer. And yes, the run differential is not great, but hey, it's not embarrassing. There were talks. I was on the show saying maybe we make some lateral moves, right? Maybe we turn our really good veterans, or not really good, our good old veterans into maybe a little less good, but a little less old type guys, right? I think right now, if you're making any trade at the deadline that isn't a sell move, if you trade for anybody older than the guy you give up, that's irresponsible decision-making, right? So let's hope that's not the case. Obviously, the draft coming up, that's going to be really interesting to see. Not that what we do there is really going to signal what direction we want to go in, because I don't want that to be the case. I want you to pick the guy you want to pick. Don't pick the guy who thinks going to help you next year because you want next year to be the year. Pick the guy who's going to be the best player, period. So let's do that. I know people talking holiday. We'll see. And at this point, if you do anything other than sell at the deadline, that's irresponsible. But with all that being said, we're going to wrap this one up. Angels 4, Rangers 11. You do split the series against the Rangers, like I said a million times, but man, it doesn't really feel like it. It does not feel like it. So that'll be it for this show. Again, appreciate you guys so much. Hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, comment both now and after the show. And I'll be back here tomorrow night after the series opener against the Arizona Diamondbacks. Take care. Have a great rest of your Thursday night. And I'll see you back here tomorrow night. Keep your heads up and go Angels.